And really, perhaps it's enough simply to consider the seemingly indivisible relation that exists between them in the very encounter between nature and mind, the intelligibility of the world and the power of thought to lay hold of it. Perhaps all we need to consider is how it is that the inherently formal and intentional structure of rational thought seems to correspond so fruitfully to the rational structure of the world. This by itself invites us to reconsider something at least like causal language proposed in Aristotelian tradition, say, or in others, in which, again, nature's deepest rational relations are more like the syntax of a sentence or a mathematical equation than like accidental concrescences of physical forces. Perhaps modern prejudice has the matter backwards. Perhaps it's mechanism that should be regarded as the dispensable methodological fiction, while the propositive language we use to isolate specific organic functions are true reflections of reality. Perhaps mechanistic models never were anything more than artificial constraints by which discrete processes might be prescinded from a whole that in itself has something like the structure of intentional thought. After all, it's absurd to think that a model created by the willful exclusion of all mental properties from our picture of nature could then be used to account for the mental itself. And yet the mental is quite real and quite at home within the natural order. If then one presumes a reductively physicalist model of all reality, but is then confronted by any aspect of nature that I believe, as in the case of consciousness or intentionality, again, I wish I could lay out all the arguments for you, proves resistant to mechanical description, the only responsible course of action is to abandon or suspend the model in regard to the whole of nature. If the phenomenon cannot be eliminated, the model is false. Curious thing, though, about eliminativism and panpsychism, but eliminativism especially, is there they've decided that the phenomenon cannot fit the model, therefore the model must be retained and the phenomenon denied. We can't stop there either. Once again, a certain principle of logical parsimony asserts itself here, and then invites us, or even obliges us completely to reverse our original supposition. Reason abhors a dualism, as I've said. I expected a laugh when I said it, but ideally all phenomena should be reducible to a single, simpler, more capacious model of reality. Far from continuing to banish mind from our picture of nature, then, perhaps we should reconsider the ancient intuition that nature and mind are not alien to one another precisely because nature already possesses a rational structure analogous to thought. Perhaps the ground of the possibility of regular physical causation in the energetic and mechanical sense is a deeper logical coherence of rational relations underlying all reality, and hence mind inhabits physical nature not as an anomaly, but as a revelation of the deepest essence of everything that exists. The intentionality of mind then is neither a ghostly agency inexplicably haunting a machine, nor an illusion reducible to non-intentional and impersonal forces, but instead the most intense and luminous expression of those formal and teleological determinations that give actuality to all nature. What makes us believe we should, or for that matter, could, think otherwise? Thank you.